So we can support it at the state level as well. Even if it does run into trouble at the federal level, we can at least get the protections within the state to have a level of recourse should, God forbid, something happen and you get discriminated against.
That's right.
And I think states like Massachusetts and Connecticut sort of set the pattern for the way things are going to go nationally. I mean, things happened here before they happen. Otherwise, the trends get started.
There are 13 states that have protection for gender identity and expression. And I don't know, there's over 100 cities that have it also. Here in Connecticut, we had a ruling back in 2001, I think it was, by the Connecticut Human Rights and Opportunities Commission saying that gender identity and expression is protected under the sex part of the Connecticut anti-discrimination laws. In Massachusetts, it was under the disability part of it. So through the executive branch means we have coverage in some of the states, but it doesn't hold the weight of a law. It's only a ruling.
Nick, I was when I applied for General Dynamics and I got through the interview stage 2, I was told that I would be a high security risk because I had been living as a pre-op for so long, and I could easily switch back and forth to guy-girl names and all this other stuff. And that's what I was given as an excuse for not being hired.
Wow.
Well, down in Washington, D.C., I don't know if you heard Diana Schroeder's case, where she was going for the Library of Congress, and they used the same excuse. But the courts have ruled that that is not an excuse. There's trans people that have top-level security clearance, and you might want to contact a lawyer if it's been recent, and if it's within 180 days, you can contact the Connecticut Human Rights and Opportunity.
No, that was in 04.
Oh, well, yeah. It's kind of hard because
but I'm glad to put that out there for those who are listening.
That's right.
For future.
Yeah, there are resources. I think CTAC can put you in touch with people in the state that might be able to help. And I know I had written to Center for Gender Sanity, I believe it's called, which is run by a pair of lawyers, if I remember correctly. They're not exactly Connecticut local, but they do have good information about ways you can protect yourself and legal recourses across the country.
And April 18th, there's going to be a conference on transgender health and law up at UConn School of Medicine. So you might be interested to go to that.
Go UConn.
Yes. Well, this is at the Medical Center in Farmington.
Right.
And if you can't afford the $25, we'll waive the fee. Shh, don't tell them I said that.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah.
That's nice to know, being a disabled person on disabilities, huh? Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm glad I called and asked that question.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
Show looks like it's pretty good tonight.
Thank you.
Well, we have an excellent guest.
Oh, thank
I
you.
see that. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. And by the way, Jocelyn is actually going to be on our show, I believe, next week.
Yeah. Nah?
So
She'll
be an awesome guest.
Now I'm blushing.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, I need to talk to you. Remind me after the show, I need to speak to you. Because I'll forget.
Very cryptic.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
Somebody call in at the last minute and remind her.
Yeah, really. Oh, I wanted to thank Bobby T.a.L.L, who was on our show last week, who was an awesome guest, and remind everybody that you probably all know this, but Father Russ's show, Street Talk, follows us immediately, and if I'm not mistaken, Bobby's going to be on that tonight, so you will see him again very shortly. But thanks, Bobby. And anyway, I had a question for you, and now it's gone right out of my head.
How about Transgender Day of Remembrance?
That's a good place to go.
Yes. November 20th, up in Hartford, we're having a memorial service for all those that were murdered this year because they were transgendered or their gender identity. It's our 7th year that we have this memorial service, and everybody's welcome to attend. It's going to be 5:15 at the Presbyterian Church on Capitol Avenue. We're going to rally and march up to the Capitol, And at 5:30, we're having speakers there up at the Capitol. And we're going to read off the names of all those that were murdered. And then we're going to go over to the Metropolitan Community Church and have a memorial service there with several people from the community giving talks.
And this is really a local expression of a national effort.
That's right.
The Transgender Day of Remembrance is a
worldwide.
Is a worldwide
yes.
event. Right?
Yep.
Trans people all over the
yeah.
world that have been and their allies and that have been murdered.
Yeah. There were 3 tragic cases. One out in California, a 14-year-old that was shot by a fellow student.
Donald King.
Yes, because the kid didn't like the way that she looked at him.
Yeah.
And then down in Florida, there was another case, and up in Chicago. And these were all kids. They were under 20.
That's horrible.
And so we have to make people aware of the violence against the community.
Yeah. I know. I don't like to harp on this. I have been told that our show can be a bummer if we talk too much about some of this stuff. But the truth is that
it needs to be talked about.
It does need to be, and a lot of us have been murdered. And I was reading some of the stuff I got from the Transgender Day of Remembrance website, and some of the ways in which some of these people were murdered were truly horrific.
Yeah, very brutal.
Very brutal.
Well,
it's hate crime.
They're hate, yeah. And it's like I was like, wow.
And particularly disheartening for me were the number of deaths where the body was unidentifiable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would.
They would find a body of a man in women's clothing, beaten beyond identification.
Yeah, that is truly scary.
Right.
So
in Connecticut, we're lucky we have hate crime law. As a friend said, we can't be beaten to death, but we can freeze underneath the bridge because we don't have a job.
Right.
Right.
Well, and even the hate crime law, it doesn't mean you can't be beaten to death. It just means additional penalty if someone does.
Right. And hopefully it will be some degree of deterrent, but...
Right.
But when they're committing the crimes, they don't go, I think I'm going to... So...
Yeah. Yeah. But it is a horrible thing, and certainly we would like to see that stop, and so this is a good thing to support, the Transgender Day of Remembrance, and we will all support that. And November 20th.
November 20th,
That's right.
5:15 in Hartford.
5:15 in Hartford,
Yeah.
right by the Bushnell Park.
Very good. And certainly there are all sorts of events throughout the year that go on, and certainly you can find out about that stuff on our website, and CTAC has a lot of information on
That's
there.
right.
And that's transadvocacy.org. Transadvocacy.org.
Right.
Or if you just Google CTAC, CTAC, it will come up.
Yeah, there's an amazing amount of information out there on the internet, and certainly we encourage everybody to get out there and look at some of this stuff and get educated.
Particularly visit the CTAC site. It's a wonderful resource. They do a lot of great work putting people into contact with existing resources, and it's just amazing. I've been able to see some of the things that
trans
they've done.
health and trans legal issues, specifically in Connecticut as well. There's a lot of information about the steps to take here in Connecticut if you're trans and looking to transition.
Right. They talk about filing probate court for name change.
Right.
Yep.
And going about changing your documentation.
Yep.
The paper trail, the paper chase.
Yes. Yeah, all very good information.
Yes.
We've certainly all gone through this and continue to go through it. It's amazing how long it takes to get...
And a plug for our guest, Diana's blog is linked off the CTAC site.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, but it's an amazing thing how much there is to change. I'm still not finished.
You never are, because you forgot something or something comes up and it's like, well, I know for me, I had a problem with one of my credit cards and I had to call up, and the first thing they do is transfer you over to security because you don't sound like the Diana. And so then you have to go through the whole spiel. You know.